Hello everyone, this is Wanderer here. In my ongoing pursuit of checking out different brands, I bring you today GoBricks and I want to offer you my first impressions. I opened the package already, didn't even peek inside yet. Now, GoBricks is a Chinese manufacturer, however, to order there I had to go through a supplier, namely Your World of Building Bricks. It was a bit wonky, but worked out in the end. What I had to do is I had to go to GoBricks, take their pre-made X file so that they know, and I had to figure out, what parts do I want, what colors do I want, and how many pieces do I want. Write all that down in that X file, then mail that file in an email to someone at Your World of Building Bricks. There's a little back and forth apparently then between them and GoBricks before Your World of Building Bricks gets back to me with an invoice on PayPal. And then took another couple days before my stuff was shipped. Shipping itself was 9 days. That's quite decent, from China to Germany to my front door. However, the whole process of ordering took, I think, 25 days. So you're looking at between 3 and 4 weeks, I guess. Now, let's look at some parts. Okay, so I did order a bunch of gold, a bunch of bright pink, and a lot of trans clear, because one of my wishes is to build a completely translucent clear bionicle figure. Now, I don't know how realistic that's gonna be, but I have a feeling that with this brand, GoBricks, I will eventually obtain the parts to do exactly that. Now, what I already like is that they pack parts of different colors together. So that's at least a slight bit less bags than of Vonado orders, I must say. I think I'll order it a little bit by color and then see what I got. Okay, never mind. I think sorting by color doesn't really have an effect if things are really thoroughly mixed anyways. Again, lots gold, bright pink, trans clear. Also some brown in here, since I wanted to try out some brown tones. See if maybe by any chance they don't only got reddish brown, but the old Lego brown, which would help me greatly. I will get out a random assortment of trans clear parts and check their opaqueness and the general quality. I'll get also some Lego parts and check how everything is compatible. As some people might know, with translucent ABS, it sometimes is an issue that the friction of parts is greatly increased. Now, that could be a problem if I were to combine translucent axles and translucent lift arms or connectors or bushings. Now, the thing is, I don't have any translucent axles yet because the ones that I was interested in were simply out of stock at the time that I was ordering. I did get a bunch of lift arms, however, and I'm just gonna push an axle through, and that all seems to just work really fine. And I'll try that with a couple connectors, lining them up here. Yeah, okay, I think on these ones here I can feel a little increased friction. Now, I don't know if this is because of the part, because that certainly is also a mold that I didn't have yet. And I believe I didn't order it in any other color, so I can't really try that out right now. But there is definitely increased friction in this specific piece right here. Now, for the types of bushings, okay, I'm running into immediate trouble here They seem rather tight. I'll try a different one just to be sure. Yeah, there is definitely increased friction there. And I don't believe it's the molds of the pieces. Okay, so I can imagine that with translucent parts or translucent axles, you're going to run into trouble. That also means, however, that these connectors are going to work just fine. There is an interesting thing that I noticed right off the bat with these pins here. I'm going to try to show this as best as I can on camera. The way these are shaped. Now keep in mind, I said GoBricks are the manufacturer. They're not the suppliers. So I find it interesting then to see that apparently these red pins that I had ordered from Vonado at some point appear to be manufactured by GoBricks. That would also lead me to believe that they're of good quality. Okay, so putting pins together. I can tell you that these also fit rather tight, and I'm already having trouble getting this one out again. I have to use an axle for that. Now, as I said, this particular connector feels a little more tight even with an axle. So I'm just going to try a different mold, different type of connector, see if there's the same issue here. And again, it fits really tight. So I need a little more force putting those together. If I were to compare this with a pin of the same making, and let's say, take the silver one. This part is off Vonado. This is, well, off Vonado too, but this definitely GoBricks, same shape, same mold. I am experiencing the same kind of, or not the same, almost the same kind of friction, which is interesting. Now let's try a Lego part with that. Which one am I going to take? This one here is definitely Lego. And it's already easier to push in and push out a slight bit. Let's try the translucent with Lego. Yeah, that works just fine. But there is this slightly increased friction with that particular type of mold, which is interesting. Other than that, the first impression of the clear parts is quite nice. They are really nice, crisp and clear. I don't know if you can actually see that on camera. The phone camera is not properly picking that up, but here before me they look quite nice. They're not super glassy. They're not super perfectly translucent, but they're sparkly enough, and I think they're gonna look fine once they're put together. With colored translucent pieces, I believe they vary a little bit more than the clear translucent ones does. You got these very crisp, clear ones in super nice quality, and you got the ones that are just that tiny bit milky, but still in great quality. With the, for example, the red ones, I got some tooth gears because I thought that would be cool. They are, I'm not gonna say, well, maybe a little bit opaque, you know? And then you got these really crisp, translucent red pieces here. They're awesome. Again, with the orange, for example, you have a little half bushing, and I think it's actually called a 1x1 beam. They also kind of vary. The bushing is a little more sparkly, a little more translucent. The 1x1 beam a little more opaque. The blue doesn't vary from what I can see. All the lift arms are basically looking like the same quality, except of course this one egg-shaped one, because of course the inside is a little rough. It's not completely smooth. So yeah, I think the translucent parts do look fine. I'm looking forward to hopefully use a whole lot of these in custom builds. And I believe I'm gonna move on to the golden parts now. What I immediately notice with the golden parts is that they're not the most consistent either. On the left side, the parts are a little more dull. On the right side, they're quite shiny actually. I don't know if you can actually see that, but they're very sparkly. You can kind of see like swirls in there. Nice metallic color. On the other hand, you have these Borok eyes or lift arms that are looking rather dull. However, I think they shouldn't hurt the overall color scheme of a figure that much if you put them both in there. Now, what else is here that is nice to talk about? I guess just color availability, which is for me personally one point or one reason to order off-brand. These 1x3 half lift arms do not exist in lime green from Lego itself, as far as I know. Also, I don't know how the small lift arms of Kata look. I don't have too much experience with them, but I'm pretty sure these are Kata type Technic parts, like the molds of them. I feel like I've seen that before in Kata models. Now, if I were to pull out some brown parts that I have around here somewhere, there we go. I want to compare if this is more an actual brown or more reddish brown, but I can already tell the shades are sort of different. What I did order is in fact reddish brown. It's, to me personally, even more apparent on camera than in real life. I was hoping this was the different brown. The colors, the color names, aside from the numbers, are all in Chinese, so you kind of gotta Google Translate, and if they just call it brown instead of reddish brown, well, there you go. Also got some bright pink. It's not enough to build a whole figure out of it, but I'm thinking I'd probably go for a two-tone paint with maybe a red two-tone color scheme. I think this could look kind of cool since it's a color that you don't usually see, and especially Bionicle Mox. I just, thought it was going to be kind of interesting. I don't think as a result of that the color blocking would be too nice, but when I build, it's not usually the main priority. The main priority for me is to keep the color scheme clean, to get pins and axles in the right colors, and I think I can achieve that now. However, the color blocking is gonna look like ass probably. And then the last thing that I want to get into, which is probably going to be interesting, are ball joints. Now, for custom Technic-based builds, you're going to need some ball joints. And I'm curious as to how they fit. I got some translucent ones in white, red, and pink. These were the colors that were in stock at the time I ordered. for the ones where the axle goes through completely. I got dark blue ones. I would have gotten trans clear ones, but they just were out of stock. And some short CCBS limbs. The shortest ones actually also in dark blue. Now I can already tell these are not the same as the ones that I got off Vonado, so the shape is more like the original Lego mold. So it's a little thicker here on the socket itself. Looks a bit sturdier, looks a bit better. I'm gonna test out the fitment of the ball joints and see how they maybe differ from the Vonado ones. The snap when I put the CCBS joint into a regular old Bionicle or Slicer joint socket, the feel of it is really tight, so there might be extra friction on there. It doesn't feel like the extra friction is there to hold it in place much tighter, to give it much better grip power. It feels like a CCBS joint would feel. The snap of it is so weird. Now, of course, I had to try that with actual CCBS, and it still feels a bit unusual when pulling the joint out, but pushing it in is quite easy. Same goes for a similar style socket, also of the CCBS-H. Pushing it in, not a problem. Pulling it out, also not a problem. So feels a bit weird to me, but maybe that's normal with CCBS. I didn't think it was, but I'm not super experienced with it either. As for the other ball joints, this one has very normal friction, so this is basically, from the feel of it, indistinguishable from a Lego ball joint. So there's, in my opinion, not gonna be an issue with stretching out sockets and cracking them over time, like I'm afraid the Vonado ones could do. I will do a follow-up on my first impressions of Vonado soon, so I'm gonna do an actual review because I've had some experience building with the parts now. Also, there's a couple of things I want to go over. I'm gonna do that maybe next week already. So this feels fairly normal. These will be perfectly fine to use. As for these, there is just a tiny bit more friction for all three colors that I got. However, that again might just be that translucent ABS. I'm not really certain. However, these also do not feel like they stretch the sockets to an unreasonable amount. So these look rather fine to use. Yeah, I think I went over all the parts that I want to go over. This is what it looks like right now. This is most of the order. And I'm quite happy with it. I'm quite happy with the look of the trans-clear pieces. The other pieces, gold is a little inconsistent, but I figured that might happen, and it doesn't bother me too much because I already have gold of different brands and it's inconsistent as is. So whatever, really. But good addition to my inventory, and this will serve me for a long while, I can imagine, since I've heard a lot of good things about GoBricks. I will do an update video on GoBricks eventually, also if I had experience using their parts for a longer time. But until then, I think that's it about GoBricks. Just a rambly first impression style video. However, maybe you still thought it was interesting, maybe because of the parts, the colors, and how you actually order there. And if you want to see more about plastic building bricks, then feel free to subscribe to this channel, because I do believe there is a bit more coming. So thanks for watching, and see you around.